Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody, to Future Proofing You Book Club. This is on chapter 11, titled Working Hard Doesn't Make You Rich. That's it. The quote of this chapter is, "Capital is that part of wealth which is devoted to obtaining further wealth." That's from Alfred Marshall, the English economist. Now, this story is really cool. The story that it gives is about a boy who just wanted to buy a donkey off a farmer. Farmer goes up to the little boy, says, "Hey, do you want to buy this donkey? Super healthy. It's perfect. I'll even give it to you." The boy's like, "Yeah, drop it off at my house." Cool. So the farmer, on his way to the boy's house, the donkey dies. So the farmer, embarrassed, super embarrassed, knocks on the door and tells the boy, like, "I'm sorry, but your donkey died." So the boy's like, "Okay, fine then. Cool. Why don't you just give me the donkey?" He's like, "Yeah, you sure?" He's like, "I'm sorry I spent your $100. Like, if I would have known he would have died, I would have not spent your $100. So he's cool. Just give me the donkey." He's like, "Okay, that's weird, but why do you want the donkey?" The boy's like, "Because I'm gonna raffle it." And the farmer's like, "The heck? Why am I gonna give you a donkey for you to raffle?" He's like, "You'll see." So this boy raffles 500 tickets, and in those tickets, out of those 500 tickets, his profit was $8.98. And the farmer's like, "How did you make that happen?" The boy's like, "Easy. I sold each ticket for $2 a piece. And the person who won, well, I just gave them back their $2 back because they weren't satisfied that the donkey was dead." So off of that kid generated $8.98 in profit, meaning 100 from what the donkey cost and then the $2 of what it cost to give back to that person. So he made $8.98 off of a dead donkey. So instead of taking a loss, the boy said, "You know what, let me turn this into an opportunity. It's gonna be money everywhere. So let me make that happen." So he even made more than the farmer. The farmer made 100, the boy made 858. Anyways, this title focuses on deal structure, raising capital, and reinvesting your investments. It starts off with truth number 11: working hard doesn't make you rich. Working smart does. And it talks about four people. First one was George Lucas, right? So no one really wanted to buy the Star Wars, but Fox is like, "Yeah, you know what? 20th Century Fox is like, yes, I'll offer you 50,000 to direct, with an additional 50,000 for writing, and an additional 50,000 for producing." George Lucas was like, "Okay, cool. I'll do it. However, under one circumstance, that you give me the merchandising rights to the entire franchise." Fox is like, "Oh, sure, clothing, toys, they don't really sell. Sure, you could have merchandising rights to Star Wars." That itself, not only did Star Wars win 6 Oscars, but it made him $32 billion worth of money from action figures, games, clothing, bed sheets, costume, lightsabers, Ewok Village playset, and other licensed product, making Lucas a multi-billionaire. Brand Steiner, 28-year-old from New York. He just started selling dirt, and he came up with this idea where he went to each famous baseball players, and he's like, "Look, if you give me a signed autograph ball, I will sell it for you and give you 100% profit." So these all-stars are like, "Yeah, heck yeah. Who wouldn't want 100% profit, right?" But what Brandon did was create a cube, plastic clear cube for that autograph ball to go on. So when he sold the ball, he's like, "Hey, you know how to display it to make it look more better? I'll just there on your shelf or on the table. Take this for $40 though. It cost you $40. You could put the ball in there, and then you could display it with the signature." And there's people like, "Of course, $40 for that ball? Of course, I'm not just gonna have the ball just laying there. You got it." So he made from that, right? It only cost him 19 cents to make that, and he sold it for $40. And that's how he was able to do it. He just went to these all-stars and said, "Hey, I'll give you 100% for this ball," and that's it. He didn't give them any other catchphrase. He's just like, "I got the rest from here." Then 2 sisters, Barbara and Mary Russell. One night, Mary's daughter was like trying to make a poster, and she kept messing up. So Mary decided to make lines and said, "Wow," right? That helped her daughter get her drawing done. And they actually called this, doesn't give the company, but it called this company and told them, hey, like, how can I get this? How can I get this idea out there? They said, go get it patented, right? Then turns out they stole their idea. So the ladies, instead of taking a loss, they said, hey, like, you stole my idea, still got a patent. How's this? You just pay us royalties. Keep the idea, make it yours, but just pay us royalties. And they're like, cool, we could do that, right? So why does it focus on deal structure? Because what he's trying to say is, don't just get paid for your finished product. Don't just get paid for it, but get more from it. If it costs you $1,000 and they want to pay you off by 1,000, just say, hey, you know what? Take 5. I'll sell it to you for 500. But what? But I want some equity in your business, or I want some royalties from what this makes, or I want a percentage, right? Just these extra to it, stocks, whatever it is. Pay me with that. And he gives examples, right? So there was one artist named by David Cho. So Sean Parker tried to make the social network office look cool. So he went up to David and said, hey, can you paint murals throughout the entire building? He's like, yeah, but it's gonna cost you $60,000. So then he's like, cool, right? Parker's like, okay, cool. I'll give you $60,000, but in stocks, only stocks. So that itself made, when Facebook went public in 2012, his stocks options were worth $200 million. Today, the spray painter shares are worth nearly $1 billion. So instead of just taking a full lump sum, he's like, here, I'll pay you in this area, but it could grow even more than just $60,000. It's gonna grow just more. He's like, cool, I'll take it. As an entrepreneur starting out, your goal should be trying to generate recurring revenue streams instead of one-time gigs. Take every chance you can to bet on yourself and to have your compensation to be tied to your performance. And that's basically another, it's called a continuity bonus, where most of the times when a company hires you for one job, once you get it done for them, they're gonna just let you go and find the next person who's cheaper, a lot of money cheaper, and say, take this person's job, here's what you got to do. But instead of that happening to you, this continuity bonus basically sets you up for the rest of your life, or 10 years, right? Or years. So what it does is it'll renew your contract based on your performance. So if your performance is better than a year prior, then they have no other choice but to give you another opportunity, because that's in the contract clause. Another thing this book talks about is just hiring an attorney that could add just these little clauses in your contracts so you don't get screwed over. Basically that. In Raising Capital, he kind of talks about venture capitalists, how there's like the bad ones and the good ones, right? And people hear so many scary stories about these venture capitalists that he's like, yeah, you know, it used to be in the past where they just screw you over, right? They write that little tiny sentence in the clause, and if you don't have an attorney to read that contract for you, it could screw you over. How? Sometimes they ask for 3 times the amount of what they lend you. So if your business just makes that 3 times the amount, then you end up with $0 in your pocket. So then he gives websites, right? The Incubator Y Combinator has posted on the website, ycombinator.com/document, standard templates that they named SAFE. It stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. That's it, documents. The second resource is a site dedicated specifically to the needs of founders, created by the Founder Institute. Adele Desi. Thefunded.com is a community of over 20,000 CEOs and founders who rate venture capitalists and discuss various financing issues. As a founder, you, the entrepreneur, you need to get educated on how the business of venture capital works. Too many founders get so busy working in their business that they forget to work on their business. You won't get wealthy building a successful company if you fail to hold on to it. In balance, I should say that the most venture capitalist firms provide founders with so much more than just money and are often the unsung heroes in a startup's overall success. Scores of founders of some of the biggest tech companies in the world wouldn't be where they are today without the mentoring of VCs like Ron Conway, Bill Gurley, Fred Wilson, Mark Sester, and so forth. One of the great things about young entrepreneurs is that they don't know that something can't be done, Fred Wilson noted. So they try something that's so audacious and usually ends up pulling it off. As your company grows, you'll have to negotiate facility leases, banking credit lines, international distribution contracts, SEC investigation, and lawsuit settlements. Many VCs are also former startup founders that understand the pressure and challenges you will face as a boss and an employer. VC's sole job is to fund risky ventures that average a 90% failure rate, which may be the only way for you to raise large amount of money quickly. If you understand the relationship you are entering into, a VC can be a trusted advisor and confident. All right. So even if you're raising funds from friends and family, communicating with investors is just one more job for a busy founder. In the United States, the 2012 Jobs Act, Jumpstart Business Startups Act, greatly reduced the cost of regulations associated with raising startup fundings. Title III of the Act, more commonly referred to as the Crowdfund Act, became law in 2015 and raised the offering limits to $50 million while still using these simplified regulations. From 2015 through 2018, 107 companies used the new Regulation A+ to raise a total of $1.5 billion. Companies such as CrowdEngine, StartEngine, and SeedInvest can help guide entrepreneurs through this new regulatory process. And one other example he gives is crowdfunding, which is another way you could become a billionaire. An example he gives is when Palmer Luckey went on Kickstarter with the goal of raising $250,000 for his virtual reality Oculus Rift headset. He couldn't have dreamed of the response. Not only did he crowdfund over $2.4 million without giving away any company equity, 2 years later, Facebook acquired his startup for $2.3 billion in cash and stocks. Here's another quote. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That's from Warren Buffett, and that's one quote that I truly follow. Another quote is, it's not how much you make, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And that's from Robert T. Kiyosaki, who teaches in his bestseller, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is another great book that I've read. In the beginning, I was really pissed with it, but then I understood it later on. And that's a different topic, but it's not your salary that makes you rich. It's your spending habits. And that's a saying or a quote from Charles A. Jaffe. I think it's Jaffe. No matter what investment strategies you decide to pursue, remember, never put all your eggs in one basket. As your wealth grows, diversify your holding both in terms of asset class, which is like stocks, bonds, or real estate, and geography, which is like US, major foreign markets, and emerging markets. The more you spread your investments around, the less likely a major catastrophe like the 2008 subprime housing fiasco or the 2020 pandemic will impact your overall wealth. Whole books have been written about investing, but for Vin, the investment advice I wanted to impart that was diversification was part of his overall strategy of becoming future-proofing you. And that was just a little bit about the experiment of Vin. That was it. That was all of chapter 11. And chapter 12 is about remote workers are your new competitive advantage. And that's the next chapter. But chapter 11, again, deal structure, reinvesting your investments, and raising capital. And these were very, very important. Because who would have known, right? As a startup, you do a one-hit wonder, like people call it, and you get a deal and all of a sudden it screws you over because you don't know how to read a contract or you don't know how to look for clauses like this. It's important. Or as I've always taught a lot of my clients or people or friends or those who come up to me is to reinvest your profits and to expand, right? Expand, diversify yourself, and use not just one basket, but multiple baskets, because that's going to be multiple streams of incomes. That's it. And they all lead towards you. So if one falls or one river dries up, right? That stream dries up, it doesn't matter, because you have other streams that are going to just benefit you and fulfill your needs and set you up for success into the future. Because as an entrepreneur, as a person who's thinking of now, you want to also keep your mind to take care of future you. So in the future, because of the now, when you set up these baskets in the future, all you have to worry about is to continue to utilize these baskets to not have holes, torns, or any type of damage to it. And that's basically it. That's basically what chapter 11 is about. So if you like this video, we're almost done with this book. We're already on chapter 12, and there's not that many chapters left. So we're almost done. So if you like this, just subscribe to this book club, comment down below your findings, or buy this book and join us. Each video has a link to buy the book on Amazon. If you haven't already bought it, just click the link, buy your book. It's the most easiest, unless you could find it somewhere else that's cheaper for you, but Amazon's just quick and efficient for me so far now. And that's about it. Thank you for watching this video.